Now what I want to do is show you what I think a business plan is actually going to look like in the future. And we built BnkToTheFuture.com to host, essentially, what we think a futuristic business plan will look, what like a business plan will look like in the future. So this is what a business plan 1.0 looked like. You get a piece of paper and you chuck it in an envelope and you send it to as many investors that you can find. Then we move to business plan 2.0, which is where you create a PDF and you attach it to your email, and then you go and approach as many investors as possible and send them your business plan. A business plan 3.0 we think looks like this. And what I'd like to show you is how to construct a business plan to attract and work in the current environment that we are in today. So if you think about it, what makes someone invest? What's going to make someone give you their money? Well, when you first approach an investor, they've literally got no time for you whatsoever. They're busy with something else. Anyone that's got money, they tend to be pretty busy people. And they've got no interest in investing in you, most people you approach. I'll tell you why. I hold an opinion, there's 3 types of angel investors. One is what you call a super angel. A super angel is Bill Gates, someone that would just be a dream to invest in, a Richard Branson, because of the amount of resources and publicity that they could bring to your business. The second is what you call a professional angel. Now, a professional angel to me is the worst type of investor because they're looking, as a professional, for the best possible deal that they could find, because they are actually looking, this is their main way of making money or their main way of building their capital that they have. And they're looking for 10 or 20 deals over a diversified portfolio, and they're going to screw you on everything that they possibly can, or not necessarily. So but it's a hard deal. The best type of angel is what I call a latent angel. A latent angel is someone that doesn't know that they're an angel yet. They don't know they're an angel yet because they haven't been told about SEIS. They didn't realize that they could invest $1,000 and get a load of tax relief. And they didn't realize that they could actually invest in smaller businesses with small sums. They thought you had to be a gazillionaire in order to make an investment. So what I think you're looking for is a combination. So look, hey, if you get a super angel, great. We had a super angel in the last business, Peter Hargreaves. It was great. It was brilliant to have that. We've done the whole angel networks and stuff like that, and sometimes the value that they can give you will be really worth it. I'd encourage you to try and get them to administer their angel investment through a platform like this, if they're willing to do it. Some angels are completely happy. Others, they really want to do it the traditional way. Just to give you full disclosure, not everyone's going to be open to this way of investing. But the latent angels are the most interesting ones, and that's the people that, the high rate taxpayers that you can show them in the investment opportunity and pitch it in a way that really works for them. So they start there. They've got no time and interest in you. And obviously the amount that they're going to invest is going to be virtually nothing. But if you can get them to read your email and click a link, that's the key thing. It's hard to get someone to open an attachment and read a 20-page business plan. It's pretty hard. But if you can get them to open an email and click a link, then you might be able to get them to invest a small amount of money, or they might even contribute some money to you if that link allows them to do it. Okay? But they're not going to invest much because they haven't spent much time on it. They don't know you. There's no relationship there, unless there is a relationship, of course. But if you could spend more time on them, they get more interested and they might watch your video. So if you think about yourself, we all have different modalities, obviously. But in general, most of us are more willing to watch a video than we are to open a 20-page business plan and read it. Most of us. Some not, but most of us. So if you can send them a link and a video pops up about what you're up to, then you might be able to get them to make a small contribution, to what you're up to, if they're targeted and interested in what you're up to. So they've spent a bit more time with you. You've actually got them invested in watching a video at that moment. Now if you can get them to listen to your investment pitch, the way that I'd like you to do it on this as we're going to outline today, then you're going to find that they're way more willing to invest more because they've seen the things that investors are interested in seeing. And there's a difference. So there's a business plan for you, and the business plan for you is where you lay out everything. There's a business plan for a bank, which is where you eliminate all the risk and show how you can repay the interest. There's a business plan for an investor, which is a completely different marketing document, okay? You need to produce that document in a way that gets read, okay? So if you can get them to listen to your investment pitch, then they're more likely to explore, invest a little bit more. But then if you can get them to read, now notice that before you were trying to get them to read straight away. If you can get them to read your one-page document about what you're actually up to, and they can see the slides, so it's a lot less intimidating to look through 10 slides than it is to look through a 20-page document of text. Then if you can persuade them to read that, then you're going to get much more investment if they're interested in what you do, of course. And then finally, if you can get them to read your 20-page business plan and view your numbers, then you're in a position where someone's really interested, or they're just one of those assholes that's going to be wasting your time. And there are those people out there that will string you along all the way, and they didn't even have the money in the first place. And that's why, one of the other reasons why we wanted to create something like this, so that you can just send them links. So you can imagine the amount that they're going to invest is proportionate to the amount of time that they spend with you. Now, most people are trying to get married on their first date and sending out 20-page business plans to people that they've never met before. Highly, highly ineffective. May work. Stuff happens. I'm an optimist. But if you can take them through this journey and process, then you're way more likely to maximize every person that you make contact with to try and become a contributor or an investor. What's interesting is if you sent them this business plan and they can still ask questions, they can still contribute, they can still invest direct, and they could still arrange a meeting with you through the business plan, and they could share it with other people that they think might be interested, then to me, this is something that's going to maximize the amount of people that you get to your business plan. So what I'd encourage you to do is not think of a crowd investing platform strictly as uploading a pitch and getting a load of people to invest. I'd like you to think of it as one of the best ways of administering a business plan which has been through extensive user experience and consumer testing, like we've been through for the next 6 months, in order to maximize the potential of you being able to get some kind of contribution or investment on the terms that they're most happy with. So the difference between Bank to the Future and our competitors is that you can actually make it where some people can contribute, get some kind of reward and support you and feel less guilty about the fact that you're someone that they know and you asked them to donate and they didn't invest. Or they can go through the process of seeing your full investment pitch. Or in the future, at the end of this year, they could decide, well, I don't want to buy some shares in you, I'd rather lend to you. So through our platform, we've combined these 3 forms of funding where they can invest in the way that's completely suited to them. And rather than having the minimum of 10 grand, they can invest a tenner if they want it. It's up to you to set the terms of how it is, set the minimum investment, set whatever. Set the parameters by which they can invest, set the privacy. Will allow you to set this pitch up exactly how you want. That's completely unique to the way that we've set up Bank to the Future. So here's what I think a business plan looks like and what you should do after this seminar to construct a business plan. Firstly, create a 20-page business plan. And I'll show you what goes in that 20-page business plan. It's really, really, really important. I can't tell you how many business people I know that are running around like headless chickens, signing up to courses, doing all sorts of stuff without the core plan of why they're attending that seminar, what the next goals are, what they're trying to achieve, what this is going to look like in 5 years, whether they're there or not. I can't tell you how many people do that. I reckon 90% of businesses do that. And do you know who else has done that? And that's why the last business was not going to be as big as this one could be, because we planned it properly this time. You know, I worked in investment banking and we saw this continually, but as soon as it comes to your own thing, you kind of forget exactly what you know. It's easier to teach. Yeah. So you start with a 20-page business plan. Here's what you put in a 20-page business plan. You'll get this slide deck, so you don't need to write everything. This is what's important to investors. Most people in their business plan some people spend like 20 pages talking about their product. The product is a very small part of a business plan. I reckon, you know, the smallest part of whether you'll succeed in a business is probably your idea. The largest part is how you pivot and execute upon that idea, and pivot when you find out exactly what the customer wants, which is completely different to what you probably started with, okay? And execution is all about what makes a business work. It's all about execution. It's why ideas are, you know, many people are holding on tight to their ideas, but how many people could you tell an idea? Who's actually going to do it? Hardly anyone, you know, so the ideas is not the thing. So the first thing is, here's what I encourage you to do. There's 10 points in 20 pages. Give or take, do 2 pages for each one of these 10 points. The first thing is your elevator pitch. So this is where you discuss, actually I encourage you to do this less. This is what people call an executive summary. But what I encourage you to do is do this last, and you take the main points in all of these boxes and put it in there afterwards, okay? A paragraph on each. The thing that they're looking for is, firstly, spending a lot of time on the problem you're actually solving. There's far too many businesses that are looking for a problem that it doesn't solve anything, and clearly identify what problem you're solving. Then where you talk about your product is your solution to that problem. This is what investors want to see. They want to see your solution to a clearly defined problem that you're solving. Don't start with your product, start with the problem, okay? Then they want to see the team who's going to execute that and how you're actually going to execute that. So the team is one of the most important things. Most investors, they back team, they back people, because most people understand that a rubbish idea with a good team can be pivoted into a really good idea and a really good product. A great idea with a rubbish team stays an idea. And how many people do you know in the world that have ideas? Every 2-year-old in the world. Yeah? An idea is worth about $9.99. It's called a book. Okay? That's the value of an idea. The value of your team, your execution, and your operations plan is where you increase value in your business. That's where you command higher valuation. Okay? Then they want to see what the market size is. So how big could this possibly be? What is the total market size? Now, you're not going to capture all of that market, but they just want to see, you know, firstly what the size is, and then your plan of how you're going to get some of it. Then they want to see the business model. This is how you make money. Then they want to know about your competition. So please, please, please do not pitch to an investor, there's no one doing what we're doing. The worst thing you could say to an investor, because they'll make a few assumptions. Either they'll assume that there's no market, which is why no one in the world will do it, yeah? Or you're under the belief that you're creating something completely new and you don't understand that even though there's no pizza shop around, you're competing for the Italian restaurant's money, you know, indirect competitors. Or they're an idiot and you genuinely are producing something that's bloody amazing and you're the next Facebook. And you may be, but it's hard to pitch. Yeah? You may be. And that happens all the time. It happens all the time when you genuinely have created a new market. The challenge with creating a new market is what you tend to do is spend millions, and then you do all the market research, and then some incumbent comes along and figures out how to do it in a better way. That's what tends to happen. And so you spend all the money, and someone else comes and finds a better way of doing it from the research. But, you know, just make sure you really understand your competition. That's the important part. Then a marketing plan and a realistic marketing plan. I see people that want to turn over millions of pounds, and they think that they're going to spend 20 grand a month in order to turn over millions. It's not quite right, because what we're doing is we're thinking of where we are right now, but you want to be comparing what the big companies are doing and what kind of money they're spending, and you want to make sure that it's in line so that you don't sound deluded at that time. The milestones, this is really important. I can't tell you how important this is. So with Bank to the Future, we need multiple funding rounds. At each funding round, we made a promise to investors. And we said, you will know if your investment has been successful if we achieve this. So to give you an insight, our first promise to our first round of investors was, we said, your money will buy us 10 success stories. It will launch us a platform and it will buy us 10 success stories. Now, if you set realistic milestones where you say you're going to reach break even on this and you're going to do that and you don't achieve it, it's only going to lead to disappointment. So you want to create a model of realistic milestones so the investors can know whether you've failed or whether you've succeeded. And you want to get those realistic. When you overpromise, it causes a big disappointment, unfortunately. So you set financial, and this might be, we want to get X amount of users by X time, or we want to achieve X amount of revenue by this time, or we want to have X amount of success stories by this time, or we want to have achieved this, whatever it may be. You set your milestones. And then finally, if you're receiving equity finance, the only way that the investor makes their money in general is if you sell your company one day. And if you don't want to sell your company, then you probably don't want to take on equity finance unless you're pitching it to the crowd. And when you're pitching it to the crowd, you're letting them know that the only way of you're either supporting me, so this is investing where you're just supporting me with some money, or you might get some dividends one day, but it's not a great way of investing in such a risky company to get dividends. So you've got to lay out what the exit is. I could give you some tips on that. There's 3 ways of exiting a company. You either go public, you either buy the shares back off the investor, or you get a company to buy you. So what you want to do is you want to identify who's likely to buy you, what market you're preparing to float on, and put the details in there. That's how you'll sound realistic, as opposed to the cliche thing that everyone puts in their business plan. So here's what you do. You put that, you create a 20-page document where you do 2-page on each of those 10 points, 10 and 20, okay? Once you got that, you then take that 20-page business plan and then you convert it into a spreadsheet. And what this means is that your financial model is simply taking your business plan and putting it into numbers. So you said you were going to hire this person here, how much are you going to pay them? And I'll go through the financial model next, but all the financial model is your business plan and numbers. I can't tell you how many people write a business plan, then their financial model's completely different to their business plan, okay? Then what you do is you take that business plan and that spreadsheet and you put it into 10 slides. 10 slides that cover each of those points in visuals, okay? That's way more likely to get seen by most people. So you've got a 20-page plan, you put it into numbers, and then you condense it down to 10 slides. Then what I'd encourage you to do is create a video which you would put on your website about your mission. And then I take those 10 slides and I do a voiceover over those 10 slides and just speak for 1 minute on each of those slides. So you've got a 10-minute video where you speak about for 1 minute on each of those. You can do that for free in PowerPoint and Keynote if you've got an up-to-date computer. And I'd encourage you all to have a video where it just explains the mission of what you're, not investment language, just the mission of what you're looking to achieve. And that's the same thing you put on the homepage of your website. So they can see what your product clearly is in consumer retail language. Then what you do is you take all of that and you condense it into 1 page called an executive summary, okay? So think about it, you've got 20-page, you then put it into numbers, you condense it into 10 slides, because the chance of people reading this is not until they're fully committed. You create a video and an investment video, you put it in 1 page, and then what you have is a link. And that link is a beautifully designed business plan, which, guess what, we've created for you at BnkToTheFuture.com. Okay? And then you're sending a link. That's what you're doing. You're sending a link. So we've condensed that business plan. So by creating your business plan in this way, as a business plan 3.0, firstly, If people click on that link, they can share it and they can invite other people, and they can do that through LinkedIn, Google+, Twitter, Facebook, or their email, or they can do it the old school way. They can also ask questions publicly or privately. So you can, the business plan then becomes interactive with comments. They could also view, so here's the way that we set up Bank to the Future. We set it up so that if you use any of our competitors, they have to, if anyone sees your business plan, they have to go through a lengthy compliance process till they can see it, because they have to be self-certified and all that stuff we talked about earlier. So what we decided to do is, how could we get it where someone could see what you're up to and then decide to go through the lengthy process only once they're interested? So what we did is we combined what we call crowdfunding with crowd investing. What that means is that when you send someone the link, they can contribute to your pitch and see your video publicly without having to go through the lengthy compliance process and creating an account. Because remember, we live in a day and age right now where everyone's used to Amazon one-click buy, okay? They can see it. Now, they're allowed to do that because you're not offering them shares. You're not doing anything that requires a financial promotion. And they may stop there, and they may just give you a tenner, or they may give you 100 quid or something and be on their merry way. But what we've got is, with that link, is they can see that publicly without having to create an account with us at that point. If they're interested, they can then watch your investment pitch and see your business plan 3.0, and only once they're interested, which means that you've massively increased the conversion rate on the people that you send this link to, whereas if you use another platform, they have to go through all the compliance before they see anything, and most people aren't willing to do that. They're not willing to create an account. We're all protective over our emails and stuff. So that's why we set it up in that way, to help you with your business plan 3.0. If they don't want to invest, they can contribute. They can just give you a tenner or 100 quid, which helps you hit your target, get your first few investors. And then they can buy shares online, and they can invest a minimum of 10 quid. That's up to you. If you want to be a pure crowdfund, you could say anyone that invests 10 quid gets non-voting B shares, and we've set it all up for you so you don't have to do any of the legal stuff, and this person isn't going to cause you a problem at exit later, or if you do a venture capital round later, because we've set it up where, for a tenner, they don't deserve that much rights, really. And in the process of investing, they've been warned and agreed to everything that they compliantly need to do so that you don't get accused of mis-selling later, because they've gone through and ticked all the boxes to understand what it means to invest in you, okay? And then what we've done is we've created a completely unique user experience for every different type of investor, so that if they are sophisticated, they don't need to go through lots of rigmarole. If they are high net worth, they don't need to go the same rigmarole. If they're not high net worth, they're not sophisticated, then we have a duty to share a few understandings about what investing in you means, so that they can't come back to you later and say, I didn't know that this company wasn't going to sell, or whatever it is. And then they can pass the compliance in 3 steps. Tick, tick, tick. Okay, we've got it down to the core of what one needs to do in order to do this. So by creating your business plan with what you can do is you can completely control the privacy settings. So you could say, I'd like to promote this to all of my LinkedIn contacts, but the mission pitch. But if they want to see my business plan and some more confidential stuff, then they have to apply, and I give them permission once I've looked at their profile, seen who they are on LinkedIn or whatever it is. Or you might be an open person as well. It's completely up to you. If you're completely open, you'll get more, you'll raise more. But some people, they want to really control the privacy on that. So we're the only platform where you can do that. You can put them through the correct compliance process so that you don't have the hassles later. And you can use our profiles to research them. So 60% of the people on Bank to the Future have all connected their LinkedIn, their Facebook, their Twitter. They've put up their real profile. They've filled out some profile. You can simply click through. With our competitors, they invest as a username, so you don't know who they are. With us, you'll know who your investors are, and you can decide whether you want them or not as they do it. Then you can host your business plan 3.0 in a compliant way. And here's the thing. You don't have to think about everything. You just answer questions, and this will be created for you. This will all be created in the way that we've user experienced and optimized. You can contribute with a click and get through the process. And you can set the terms. So you can say whether you want to a £5 minimum investment, £10 minimum investment, A shares, B shares, interview for non-executive director, whatever you want to do, however you want to set it up, we're completely flexible with how you do that. And so that's what I consider a business plan 3.0, because you can then take all your LinkedIn contacts. Here's the thing. This is why I think crowdfunding is the ultimate tool. Because all of a sudden, all of the social media work, all of the networking you've been done, all of the pay it forward you've been done, you can then put them through the process and they can invest or contribute on their terms. Okay?